Guten Tag, Grüß Gott. Today's Sunday, December the 3rd, 2023. And you know, what in the world happened here for a month? We have, I've lost an entire month. Haven't done a video since the end of October. And it's crazy. The times are just, going by as fast as faster than I can keep up with it. And then I have this dog. And the dog is with me right here. And I'm not sure I can show the dog on the video, but maybe I can. Maybe I can. Oh, let's see. Is there a dog?
Oh, he just turned his head.
Yeah. There's the dog. Oh my God, there's a dog. Anyway, so I don't know how this is going to work with the dog right here because, we have a dog. Anyway, I really wanted to make a video, and so I forced everybody to make a video. And so I have my wife Marge right here with me. Anyway, I started to write a script, and I wanted to, prepare something for, some sort of nice content. And so I came up with 2 items. And then what I did is, actually, with 3 items. And it says, Gaza War, New York Marathon, and electric cars. So I just put this thing away, and I'm going to, which is my remarkable, but I'm just going to talk impromptu, and I'm going to do the best that I can. But what I will do is I'm going to rely on this stack of Wall Street Journals. Hopefully it'll refresh my memory and make this somewhat interesting. So let's see what, excuse me, what happened here on October 30th. October 30th, I don't think I showed this on the, but I'm going to show it right now. And it's basically the Gaza war. It's that's still going on. And the destruction is really horrible. So, it's interesting, that some 200 people were kidnapped, and it pissed off the Israelis so bad that they're not going to stop. They really want Hamas eradicated. So that, it's just the next article or the next newspaper is pretty much the same thing. It's going on and on and on, about what's going on. So we actually, we had Halloween.
Well, explain what's going on. We had a ceasefire.
Well, I'm kind of hoping, that, the newspaper, will kind of get me there, so.
Okay. So Halloween.
So, yeah, Halloween. Halloween came and went, and it was virtually, there was nothing really spectacular. There were no attacks, or I don't think, anything like that. But the Palestinians, leaving from the northern area, which is, evidently mostly where Hamas has its tunnels and so on, but who knows what they have in the south. They've been told to go south, and so they're doing that, but they're not just going south, they're also coming across the border wherever they can. And if I'm not mistaken, they're even trying to get into the United States somehow, however they can, So Palestinian refugees are going to be throughout Europe, most likely, and the United States. And so it's really horrible. And as a matter of fact, I was looking for a quote from Yuval Harari. It's just kind of my hero, but boy, did he ever get that wrong. So when he wrote his book *Sapiens*, in there's a quote that says, man has figured out how to eliminate most conflicts. And yes, there are things going on in the Middle East here and there and so forth. But there are more people dying from overeating than there are dying from international conflicts. And it wasn't, but I don't know, months or so later, after I read this, and of course, probably years later from him, we had the Ukraine. And that showed just everything, that Yuval had it wrong. And I figured out, that he really thought that humanity has changed. And that we're not going to be into a big conflict anymore. And that, this idea of a world war, is probably not going to happen. And I think there were a lot of people on his side that actually, kind of felt the same way. Okay, so Russia amassed a bunch of troops, on the border, and so, they want to get the Donbass, which is mostly populated by Russians anyway, but still part of the Ukraine. And, they're not going to do much. Well, now, so what is this now? Over 2 years? And we still have that conflict. And it's kind of in a stalemate right now, because everybody's I think they're running out of people and ammunition. This is crazy, what's going on there. But the Wall Street Journal that I'm holding right now says Bankman-Fried convicted on all counts. Now this is the Sam Bankman that at the crypto exchange, Alameda Research and all that kind of stuff. We've talked about this before. But they're finally getting to him, and so FTX is actually still in business, but it's under a kind of a receivership. It's being managed, and I don't know what happened to Alameda Research, which was run by the sultry wood nymph. I can't remember her name right now, but I've also talked about her. Jesus, these kids, they were all in their 30s, and controlling billions of dollars, and anyway. So finally, he's going to get to go to jail, and I hope some other ones too. But I think they all tried to make a deal and turn on him, so. He's the guy that's going to have to hold the bag. But of course, he was also in charge of everything. So what else? Oh, yeah. Netanyahu rebuffs U.S. call for pause in strikes and strikes on Gaza. So here on November 4th, this thing was still going on, which is about a month ago. They were still kicking butt, kicking butt and killing people. And here's, Monday, November 6th. Wall Street Journal. Ethiopian man wins New York Marathon in record time. Okay. So Ethiopian man wins in record time with 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 58 seconds. And that's really, I don't know how much that is over a record, but 2 hours, for 26 miles. Wow, And of course, a woman also won. And she's from Kenya. Her name is Helen Aubrey. So here they are, the winners, and it's really great. Well, my comment about this is maybe what we ought to do is have a marathon for Kenyans and Africans, have a marathon from them to see who's the best African. And then have a marathon for the rest of the people, So maybe that's not such a bad idea, is have 2 marathons, because all the first and seconds and thirds and whatnots, are won by Kenyans, Ethiopians, Tamarans, I don't know, Cameroonians, anyway, Africans. And so they're just really better than the rest of the world, So Okay, Trump is sparring with a judge, and they're trying to put a gag order on him all the time because, you know, Trump is a guy that calls names. So he he's telling the judge, hey, you're attacking my business. What the hell you got to do, looking at my business, and you're a hack, a Democratic hack, and I'm not sure that was exactly the quote, but you get the idea, right? Anyway, voting right, I mean, abortion is still in the news, and it could actually be a big deal. Just heard this morning, that maybe that's in the background right now because Biden has to deal with international stuff, and abortion, and maybe in the background. But Ohio voters enshrined the right for abortion, so I'm not sure exactly, what. How they enshrined it, but anyway, they passed some law that, the women have the right to abort. So if they just fuck up, and don't take the medicines and things like this, so then they can still have an abortion. So I guess that's, the ultimate is still killing babies. You know what I mean? So yeah, Oh, Ivanka Trump takes a stand in father's trial, a fraud trial. So, the Democrats are chasing Trump really hard because they know that he's probably going to be the Republican nominee. And so he's a considerable threat because, what they've got going right now with Biden and Kamala Harris isn't much, So, here still early November. The Palestinians still is, battles intensify. And China's economy descends back into deflation, which is kind of interesting, So a big thing happened is that a Gaza hospital has been attacked, and so, patients have been killed and so forth. And, that has hit the world news, and nobody likes that, So, but it was evidently unavoidable because the Hamas is using the temples and is using the hospitals and using, these facilities, including refugee camps, as their starting point for underground work, oh man. Anyway. So, of course, the news in the Wall Street Journal always is that, Israelis are rooting out Hamas. But the thing is, they're not really making a hell of a lot of progress. It's, I don't know, what we actually read in the news and what is actually happening on the ground. Even the internet, is all, oh yeah, Israel is winning and winning and winning, yeah, right. But, you also see missiles hitting tanks and so on, I mean, if you think about it, shoulder-fired weapons are there, and that can take out a tank. And, the Israeli tanks are called the Markava tanks. And I could have named that. I mean, if I was an Israeli, why wouldn't I name a tank after Elijah's chariot, I mean, that thing with multiple wheels and all that kind of stuff, descending from heaven. And, yeah, a Markava. Why not? I could have named that, Anyway. So, what else is going on here? Well, we do have a new speaker. Finally did get a speaker. And Californiization hits the Texas housing market. So here's what's happening, and it's happening in other states. The Californians can sell their real estate, for a pretty high price. And if you move to Idaho or Washington, or, on the Eastern Cascades, not Seattle, but Eastern Cascades, you can buy a relatively expensive or a large home, you know, for very little money. And that was just the dog. You know, he's looking out the window now and sees something, you know. I don't know. Do you want to get into this video, huh? So, you know, Israel is still pounding the Gaza areas, and U.S. and Israel are split on the Gaza plan. Hey. Well, that's going to hit the sound waves real good in that video, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, there are all kinds of protests, and the Palestinian students are protesting. Students in general are protesting because, you know, it's so inhumane, you know, to, you know, kill all these people. You know, so they put, you know, a professor, I think at USC, you know, was walking over the names that the Palestinians have laid out, you know, names of the people killed, you know, and, you know, there's strips of paper laying in the campus, you know, and this guy just kind of walked through there, and it caused a big uproar, you know. So, but pet psychics are becoming a thing, you know, and the Wall Street Journal here's the headline says, the pet psychic will see you now. That'll be $350 for 90 minutes. I don't know. No end of snake oil, right, buddy? No end to snake oil. Yeah. Inflation cools and the market soar. You know, and that's really, really important because, you know, the market has been down for the entire year, you know, and so it's kind of catching up. You know, it's been, the Dow has been over 36,000, and now it's inching up to about 35 something. So it's actually pretty good. But the Chinese economy evidently isn't, you know, anything to brag about anymore, because Xi no longer brags about the economy, you know. You know, because he always kept saying, you know, hey, you follow the his exact quote was something like this. Okay, when I say exact quote, I shouldn't have said that. His quote is almost like this, you know, the party is always right. Okay, that's an exact quote right there. And if you follow the rules, there's a bright and glorious future for you. No dissent. But anyway, here they are, Biden and Xi, good buddies, you know. So this is really interesting that they came to San Francisco for a summit. And, you know, I think that's important, actually, because there's so much trade going on with China, and we can't not trade with China, and China can't not trade with us, you know. So it's important that we have some sort of a good relationship. So I think they're trying to work out, you know, what happens in the South China Sea, you know, when there's an encounter between, you know, Chinese forces, and because they're always around Taiwan, you know, they're always, you know, kind of interested in that area, because, as a matter of fact, you know, what they're doing is the Chinese are bribing Taiwan legislators, you know, with trips and, you know, vacations and things like this, you know, because, you know, they're kind of hoping that maybe Taiwan will vote, oh yeah, we want to be like Hong Kong, you know, get back to China. You know, if they're stupid, yes, but, you know, they're not stupid. So, well, the FDIC chair, known for temper, ignored bad behavior at the agency. So what happened is that these guys, the FDIC, you know, wherever they're going, they're partying, you know, inviting girls and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, Jesus. So Israel says that they found a tunnel at Gaza hospital, because everybody was saying, you know, oh, you bombed the hospital, you know. But they're saying that they found a tunnel. Nobody has seen it other than the Israelis, you know, so who knows where we're at. Anyway, so OpenAI. This is something really interesting. OpenAI board removes Paul Altman, the chairman of OpenAI, which is GPT, and they removed him as a CEO. And of course, Microsoft is like 49% invested in it. They did not want to have controlling interest because they thought the regulators would come after them. But they got 49% of the stock. In the OpenAI. So Altman, went to Microsoft, and Microsoft says, "Oh yeah, come to us. Fine. You can do your work here." And a bunch of employees, like 600 some employees, said, if the board doesn't take Altman back, we're going to quit and go to Microsoft. Okay, so so Microsoft somehow maneuvered the situation to where a bunch of board members resigned, the ones that were pissed off. So what has really happened there is nobody really knows exactly. Okay, but here are some of the things that kind of came out, in the rumor mill, is that the reason the board fired Paul Altman is he gave them a presentation of a new development in OpenAI that they did not anticipate. This was a shock to them. So it was really, really something revolutionary. And as a matter of fact, it was accompanied by letters from some of the employees saying, this could be a threat to mankind. Yeah. So the board was dissatisfied with that, saying, hey, you know what? You shouldn't have sprung that on us. You should have talked to us about, how you're going to develop this and what this means and so forth. But what's interesting about this is what they probably showed them, which is now kind of known as Q-Star, okay? And Q-Star is a system that is, they call it synthetic intelligence, okay? Now this is really complicated because what it does is that the system invents new things and new ways of thinking that we haven't thought of yet. In the past, AI has taken human knowledge and given it back to us, okay, as in an organized form, so we can understand it, because you can ask ChatGPT, for just about anything written. As a matter of fact, now there's DALL-E 3 or something like this, and I actually used it, and I created a world, and it's shocking as to what it created. It was just amazing, because I gave it some parameters, and I said, create a world, where, you have a direct relationship with the plants, and you can plunge your arms into the soil, and caress the roots of the plant, and gave it all kinds of fanciful things to do, and sure enough. So I may just include a picture of that in this video because it's really something. So getting back to what happened to Altman. So anyway, Altman is back in charge, and now we're gonna, everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens with this Q-Star, because Q-Star may use the thinking, it's fairly complicated. May use the thinking of humans, but creating something brand new. I don't think I can really give this justice, just kind of talking off at the top of my head, because there is a knowledge tree that they go through and all this kind of thing, But anyway, this may be the beginning of, and these are not my own words, I don't know whether I've not read this, but this may be the beginnings of where we have actually looking, beyond the Turing test, with looking at maybe sentience in AI. And that's really shocking that we're that close, you know, if that's the case. All right. Oh, Rosalind Carter died. Look at these guys. You know, back in the 70s, they were a happy couple, right? Yeah, Jimmy had to go to a funeral. That sucked, you know. I mean, he was a really good person, you know. Terrible president, though, I think, you know. And, you know, we're coming up on Turkey Day, you know, Thanksgiving, and so, of course, the turkey gets pardoned every year by the president, you know, which is a really good thing. So, yeah. But more trouble, you know, in the crypto world, because Binance chief admits violating the laundering law, and there's Binance. He kind of looks like Ma, you know, the guy from China that is the equivalent of Bezos, you know, over there. But this guy's name is Cheng Peng Zhao, you know, if I pronounce that right. Anyway, so he steps down. Of course, he probably owns the place, you know. He steps down, somebody else goes in. And the Chinese will figure out how to, the Chinese government will figure out how to take his money, you know. So they do have a ceasefire, you know, and, you know, they're celebrating and so on. They have a ceasefire, which they released 24 hostages, and then I guess they released another 16 later on. They extended the ceasefire. It started out 4 days, and it went to 7 days. But you know what? They're back at it. And everybody wants to extend the truth, you know, so yeah, Hamas releases 17 more Israelis, you know, mostly old people, kids, and I mean, this was a terrible thing that they did. You know, I know they have a grievance, all that kind of thing, but Jesus Christ, you know, what they did to these people, you know, it's just, no wonder the Israelis are so pissed, you know. Anyway. So, Israel and Hamas extended 2 more days, as I said before, you know. And fast fashion disruptor Shane, I don't know whether you know these guys, confidentially files for IPO. Yeah. Grumpy on a job, you have company. Well, what's new about that, right? And then Henry Kissinger dies. Yep. So, you know, Henry Kissinger has been, I think he's a little bit like Winston Churchill, you know, because
he did a lot of bad things.
A hero to some and the devil for others, you know. So I don't want to go into the detail of all this, but
we're having an earthquake. No, it's the dog.
It's the dog. He made it to 100. You know, I mean, that's noteworthy, right? But it's really interesting. So in Gaza, the lull, hints of normal life emerge, and this is so human. Look at this. You know, somebody set up a little market again, you know, and the vegetables, and, you know, and of course you see the destruction in the past, you know. I mean, you know, seeing something like this warms my heart, you know, and, you know, even if we have an atomic war, there'll be some people bringing out eggplants and, yeah, and then, you know, I guess, you know, the month of December just seems to be full of deaths. And then, I don't know why that is happening. People check out at the end of the year. Is that what's going on? Anyway, Sandra Day O'Connor. Okay, so the first woman on a high court. Actually, you know, I think she was a good one, wasn't she? Mm-hmm. She was a really good, you know, she didn't have too much of an extremist agenda, I don't think, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, that's pretty much the news, for Newswit. Except, we have a sleeping dog right here. So, I don't know, Bunny, do you have something that you want to contribute? So I think I'm just going to cut it down. So I want to bid you farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss und Servus. And you know what? God bless you.
What about Merry Christmas?
You know what? I may just make one before.
Okay.
Or maybe at Christmas and wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Okay.
What do you think?
That sounds good.
All righty. Okay. Signing off.